Hey, gang, welcome back to another episode of the Stuff About Money They Don't Teach in School. I am your host, David Littlejohn, and today we're going to be talking about how to magnify your income, something that most folks out there are very interested in. And we're going to go through a few of the key tips that everybody should know in order to do this. So let's get into the goods, shall we? We're going to talk about how can you earn more money. It turns out it's not a secret. There are some fundamental principles involved here, and if you want to earn more money, there's only a couple of things that you need to consider. One, you can do something more valuable, right? If you go get a job, and anybody can do the job, it's not particularly important. Think about it as if somebody could substitute for you. If they could tag in and take over for you with very limited training and very limited effort, then it's not a very difficult job. So this is a subject of much debate, but it's really straightforward when it comes to business. As an employer, if I'm trying to employ you, you're not doing a very good job, and I can get somebody else to do it for the same price, and it's really easy to find that person and replace you, then that's a pretty low value job, right? That's why the joke is always about the burger flipper, right? It doesn't take a lot of skill to show up and flip a burger on a timer, right? That's something that's highly accessible to most of us. Anybody can train to do it. However, if you want to do something more valuable, then you need to do something either rare or dangerous. So we'll talk about that in a second. There's something else you can do too, right? You can do leverage. So, leverage is the idea of magnifying your effort through somebody else's effort. And it can either be the effort of their labor or through an effort of capital. If you've ever heard of the term capitalism, we're going to touch on this a little bit. So, we're going to want somebody else to help us do it. So, what's it going to look like? Well, here's the idea of rare or dangerous. Yeah, you can see at least one face on here you may recognize, right? So, of course, LeBron James is a super rare athlete these days. Now, our pro athletes are not playing due to the COVID whole stay at home thing right now. But when LeBron James has been playing, and we could have picked any number of people that are in professional athletics, this is just one that comes to the top of my mind. He's really exceptional at what he does. He's in the top infinitieth of a percentage, and so his skill is super rare. Now, it doesn't mean that LeBron is more important than, say, a teacher. It's just that it's a lot easier to find teachers that are good enough for the job compared to finding somebody that's better than LeBron James at what he does. And what's remarkable is you could be the very, very best at something in the whole world. But if nobody cares, then nobody's going to pay you, right? LeBron, people happen to really want to watch basketball. It's very entertaining, so folks are willing to pay to wear the shoes and the jerseys and go to the games and watch the television. And so think about all the things that happen when LeBron James plays, right? You get media advertising and you get merchandising and you get all these other things. And what LeBron James does is he is actually going to take advantage of another thing as well that we'll talk about. But his skill set is so rare that he's able to get a really high value contract because every team wants to have LeBron James. You may hate LeBron James, you may love him, but you get the idea is that his skill set is super rare, and as a result, it's highly compensated. The person on the right is somebody that had to go through, it looks like a physician, right? You've got the stethoscope this is somebody that went through a lot of schooling and got into the profession that had lots of barriers to entry. So rare. If that profession is rare, then we would expect them to be more highly compensated because there's competition to get into that position. And think about this too. I mean, let's say she's a brain surgeon. Okay, do you go to the lowest bidder for a brain surgeon? Probably not. So a super rare skill is more valuable, and the marketplace will pay for that rare skill. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how you can increase your income now. We've talked about the idea of doing something scarce or dangerous, and now we're going to talk about the leverage concept too. This falls into what we'll call the cash flow quadrants. Now, this is not mine. There's a book out there. It's a great book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's probably 20 years old now. The author is Robert Kiyosaki, and it's a purple book, right? If you go look at it, the cover's purple. And Robert Kiyosaki talks about the way that people view assets versus liabilities, and he uses this quadrant. So let me explain a little bit more about what it's telling us. You can be one of four things essentially. You can to earn money, you can be an employee, right? I have a job. I go to work. I get paid for the job I do. And I can have a scarce job, or I can have a really common job. And depending on that, it will change how much I'm worth. I can become self employed, right? Then I make the job for myself. I go out and figure out what somebody else wants, and then I get paid to do it. And so I own the job. Then I can become, over here, I go from S up to B, right? A business owner. The business owner is a system that makes money. And so if you're a business owner, maybe you have employees. Now the employees are working too, and they're helping you earn money. And then the last one is investor. This is more passive, right? The investor is your money is doing the work for you. I talked about the idea of capitalism. Capital is another term for money. So we look at how the investments work for you. So let's put this into practice. And by the way, here's a hint. You can do all of these, right? You can be each one of these. So you could be an employee, have a side hustle, and have your own small business where you have a couple of employees that work for you, maybe a buddy that works with you, and so you guys go out and do weekend cleanup projects or something, and then you have a day job, right? And then you can also have some money that you put to work in a retirement plan or something like that. You could literally own all of these, right? You could be all of them. So how about what it looks like in terms of how you magnify your income? Well, let's think about what it does here. If you have a job, really you have your time, and you're trading your time for money. And how much you get for that trade is dependent upon how valuable the job is. We talked about if you got a low value job, you don't get paid as well. If you have a really rare or high value job, you get paid more. When you become self-employed, you own the job, right? And basically you're still trading your time for money. So there's no leverage on the left-hand side of this equation, right? There's just the two boxes. If you want to get into making more money, then you get into being a business owner. And this is what's unique about the LeBron James example earlier, right? LeBron James has a job that he's really, one could argue he's self-employed. He's really not, right? He has a job playing for a team. His job is really highly compensated because of the rarity. But LeBron James does something else too. He has business deals where he is an investor and he gets a portion of what other people are doing, right? So he has a team of business people that work for him, in fact. So he has passive income that he gets not from working, but from the efforts of others. So when you own a business, and LeBron James is a business, right? I mean, he's got all kinds of product lines associated with him, sneakers and clothing and other things. Then he has leveraged his effort by getting a portion of what other people are doing for him. And then he's also investing, right? He's taking his money and he's putting it into other businesses where the businesses earn money and then he gets a portion of it. And notice what it says in the bottom right-hand corner. It says the income is not dependent on your presence. That's really the sweet spot for developing large incomes, is try to get portions of, and that's what capital does, right? You invest in other companies, and if those other companies are successful, right? If you wanted to start a business, you borrowed money from somebody else, you have to pay them some of that back. You share your profits with them, but it's for the privilege of using their money. Well, if you're the one with money, maybe you've heard this phrase before, it takes money to make money. Well, there's a cycle, right? Start with a job, get more valuable, collect money, then use that to reinvest in others. And you can, in fact, get out of this cycle where you live for paycheck to paycheck. You can increase your income by being strategic about how you do this, okay? So that's the basics. How do you increase your income? Through scarcity, through leverage, through becoming a business owner where you're leveraging the efforts of others, and through investing in the efforts of others, and then making passive income. So if you add all of those together, and remember you can have them all, then you will gradually increase your income. And sometimes you can increase it really quickly. Keep in mind one caveat. A lot of people want to become like overnight millionaires. YouTube's a funny thing. Like if you wanted to become a YouTube personality, if you get 1 million subscribers, then you can make more money on the advertising revenue from YouTube. Remember, that's leverage, right? That's getting more viewers. That's expanding your business. So it's a form of leverage to get more viewers. Audience building, you're leveraging your audience. Also, when you think about a .com or an investment that somebody makes and all of a sudden it goes really super high in value and then they sell out, that's an investment that they're cashing out of. So that's a capital gain or a profit. It's not really income. Today's call was about how to increase your income, not just how to increase your net worth. That's something we can talk about some other day. Anyway, as always, if you've got other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You've got the email address on screen. Throw the stuff in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And please share this with as many people as possible. Our goal is to help folks get educated. Reminder, lots of free resources at our webpage. If you go to littlejohnfs.com, look under the Educate tab or the Tools tab. All this stuff is available. So thanks as always for tuning in. Until next time, this has been David Littlejohn. We will catch you later.